In this colour pencil review, I will be looking at the Derwent Academy Colour Wooden Gift Box set of 24 colour pencils. I will be looking at whether I think these colour pencils are worth the spend, and also I will be giving a thorough product review of the pencils. So let's get into the review. So I want to start off by mentioning that I hadn't planned to buy these pencils. I just bought them yesterday because I went into my local home bargain store and I saw them on offer for £7.99, and I couldn't resist buying them. Number one, because I thought it was such a good deal. They initially said that they were reduced from £42, which I had to check. I thought that was a bit overinflated, and it turned out that they were on Amazon for £18.59. If you want to check out how much they are in your region, then check the description below because I have a link to Amazon. I appreciate that most of you don't watch from the UK, so you won't have home bargains in your region. I should also mention that I have posted a link for the colour swatch chart that I am using in this clip. So there will be a link for this in the description below. So I have to say, I was really looking forward to opening this box, as I haven't treated myself to pencils for quite a long time. And it says it's a wooden box set for aspiring artists. So it gives you an idea of the quality of the pencils. And it says the Derwent Academy wooden box set contains a range of Academy neon, pastel, metallic colour pencils, complete with accessories and a drawing pad. An ideal gift to inspire and develop a budding artist's creative skills. So let's try and get into this box. Nearly there. The suspense is killing me. And when I open the box, I can see the lovely design and the effect of the wood, and there you can see the Derwent logo. The effect of the wood is incredible, and you can see the lovely leather effect handle and the clasps of the box. Really good quality box. I'm so impressed so far. So I open the box and I can see the sketch pad, the Derwent sketch pad, and it's 110 GSM, so that will be good for pencil sketching. It wouldn't be any good for watercolour. And here, importantly, we have the pencils. So we have 12 metallic pencils, 6 neon and 6 pastels. In addition to the pencils and the sketchbook, there is also an eraser, so it'll be interesting to see if this actually rubs out the colour pencil, and there is a pencil sharpener. So now I'm going to talk about the build quality of the pencils. They seem pretty uniform. They've got the name of each colour on the side, and they have the name Derwent on the pencil. They also I don't notice a number. So some pencil brands that I use have a number and also light fastness rating, but these are for a budding artist, so that's kind of to be expected. They have the colour on the end, so that's very clear, and they are a hexagonal shape. I've never used a hexagonal shape before, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. So whenever I get a new set of pencils, the first thing I do is organise them into groups. So I've organised these into metallics, neons and pastels, and then I've organised them into their colour groups. So now that I've organised them into groups, I've then made the colour swatch sheet, which we are welcome to download for free. So if you go to the description below, you will find a link to this free colour swatch sheet. And the reason I like to create a colour swatch sheet is that when I am colouring or creating a pencil drawing, it means I've got a point of reference. So for every set of colour pencils, I can compare and find the best colour out of all the sets that I have, of which I have quite a few now. So I'm going to start by applying a light layer, and then what I will do is I will work across and add several layers. So I ended up with each of these rectangular shapes adding about 7 or 8 layers, because I found that the pencils were quite hard. Usually with Prismacolors I only need to add about 3 colours because they are soft wax-based pencils. When I'm using Faber-Castells, which are a hard oil-based pencil, I end up adding about 7 or 8 layers. So this pencil here, I found an incredibly hard pencil, and I found that I was pressing really hard to try and get a dark layer to the pencil. I also found that by the end of the colouring session, my fingers were really hurting. I did have an image of this, but unfortunately by the end of the session I had changed the lighting conditions and they didn't work, so I don't have any footage of that. But by the time I got to about square 22, my fingers were really hurting. Now that was partly down to the pencil, but also down to the hexagonal shape of the pencil. So firstly I'm going to talk about the metallic colours. I found that when I added the colour to the first two swatch rectangles, I wasn't really impressed with the pencils because, as I've just mentioned, they were quite hard pencils, even harder than Faber-Castell's, but also I found layering them quite difficult. I added about 7 or 8 layers of colour and they weren't, or it was very difficult to gain some vibrancy or some darker tones. What I started to find though was as I moved through the colours, I picked the sheet up and I could see that there was a shimmer to the colours. Initially when I was adding these colours I thought there's nothing special about these, especially if you compare them to Prismacolor, which I didn't do, because initially I was going to do a comparison to the Prismacolors, but actually I didn't need to because there was some metallic element to them. In actual fact, what I would say is there is a shimmer to them rather than a metallic element to them. So there was definitely a shimmer. I wouldn't say they are very metallic, but there is definitely a shimmer to these pencils. It should also be worth noting that this whole set I got for $7.99. If you were to buy 6 metallic pencils on Amazon at the moment, it is over £9. Whereas in this pack you get 12 metallic pencils, 6 neon and 6 pastel. After shading with the 12 metallics, I had an idea of where it was going to go with the neons, but when I started with the pink, number one, I was so impressed with the vibrancy. You can see in comparison to metallics how bright it is and it pops off the page. But number two, these felt like a completely different pencil. They were quite oily and they were more soft and blended much easier than the metallics. But when I moved on to neon purple, it didn't seem to have the same vibrancy, and to be honest with you, the neon purple and the neon light blue didn't really have the same neon vibrancy as the rest of the neon colours. So the apple green, lemon yellow, orange and the pink for me were far stronger and quite frankly were a surprise because number one, I found shading with them far easier than the metallics. To be honest, they were a completely different pencil, but also they were really fluorescent or neon, so I was impressed with these pencils. So now moving on to the pastels. These were very similar in consistency to the metallic pencils, and also, to be honest, I found them quite boring. The colours were boring. Maybe it's because I like vibrant colours, but I just found even the names of them quite boring. Watermelon was interesting, but then that was it. There was nothing to report here, just that they were pastel colours. And out of the 3 different types of colours in this set, they were probably the most difficult to get any colour or tonal value out of them. In order to test this pencil range, I'm going to try 3 different blending techniques on a blended strip of blue, green and neon yellow, because that was the closest in similarity that I could get. So the first thing I'm going to use is a Derwent blending pencil. I found this pencil to be really good for blending skin tones, and I tried this and it was fairly good, but it wasn't as good as it has been when I've used it on other pencil brands such as Prismacolor and Faber-Castell. I then used the blending stump, and this didn't really seem to blend the pencil at all. It blended the blue a little bit, but the rest of it didn't really seem to move the pencil around at all. To try and make this pencil shading even smoother, I'm going to use some Zestic pencil blend, which I use quite often on coloured pencil and oil pastels and soft pastels. It's really good for blending out and avoiding white gaps. As I expected, This was the better out of all the 3 samples, but it still didn't blend out that well, especially the transition between the green and the yellow. And finally, just to show you on the left hand side, this is where I used the eraser that was provided in the set to rub out the pencil, and it was fairly effective. It didn't erase it completely, but it erased it fairly well. So, who are these pencils for? I would say they would make a really good gift because of the box, especially for someone that's a budding artist. I would say these certainly aren't for a professional because they don't have a light fastness rating, and because of the unique mix of colours. I would say also they're very good for someone that does colouring, adult colouring. They would be a good choice. If you would like to find more about any of the products featured in today's clips, then check the description below. If you would like to download the free colouring in chart, the link for this is also in the description. And if you would like to see more colour pencil reviews, then check the playlist on the right.